Hello, 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 and welcome back to the UK-inspired Rail Network. Today we are going to, as the title suggests, extend the what we called it. What is it? What rail line is it? Hold on, I need to check. I need to check Google Maps because I've forgotten. Great Western Mail Line. I wish the Great Western Rail Line. We're going to extend it. As you can see, I've done a bit of terraforming. I'm very, very chuffed with myself that I did terraform this from the start. It's Sunday afternoon, and I've eaten dinner, and my brain's not working properly, so deal with me. So, yes, I'm very happy that I did sort of start this lower and terraform this. Number one, because I planned ahead with this line, and put a bridge over it, and thought I knew this line had to go underneath it, and again for here and here. So the plan is today is to get this Great Western Main Line as far as I'm kind of thinking. I've been looking at the map. I want to get it as far as the junction for Heathrow, which is just after. I know you've got east. Is it east or west? It'd be west, won't it? It'd be West Ealing. After West Ealing, and then what do we have after that? We have Hanwell, but it's not Hanwell. It drops after. It turns off after Southall, I believe. I think there's a grade separated junction. No, it's not. Hayes and Harlington. There's a grade separated junction after Hayes and Harlington, where we get the grade separated junction for the Elizabeth line. Is it that goes off down to Heathrow? So I'm thinking to try and get as far as there. I'm not sure off the top of my head what stations I'm going to get fitted in. I've kind of painted some areas roughly kind of the direction where I want this to swing off. I've also terraformed a massive space here simply for Old Oak Common and the Old Oak Common sidings. Whether we get both in is going to be like an adventure on itself, I guess, and a massive undertaking because we don't have a lot of space. I'm also not entirely sure, as much as Google Maps kind of shows me like construction area right now, but not really, about Old Oak Common and how that HS2 is going to be underneath it, and then they're going to build a massive station on top, which is well underway. I've had a look at YouTube and had a browse of some plans, but I'm not really sure how that goes down. I just know it's somewhere here. However, there is the Old Oak Common Elizabeth line, I think, depot, so we might put that in. The more and more I look at this line, the more and more I'm thinking we might have to put some of the Elizabeth line in, if anything, just so I can get that in. And I know that it surfaces somewhere around here as well, just after Royal Oak. So we'll have a look at that and we'll see. Main plan for today, I think, depending on my time constraints and how much music I have to listen to in the background as I go through this, is I want to complete the line to at least that junction. So I'm going to stick some music on and I'm going to get stuck in. I've pulled all these bridges back, delete the track back to make this space because these all have to go over the top. So we might have to realign our lines here and maybe raise them up a little bit because they're not as high as this one. So we'll have to look at that. Obviously, this line's going to bend off this way because what we've also got splitting off here and coming under and over and all here is, I think we've got the Piccadilly line and we've got the Central line as well that surface somewhere back here and go over the top. No, underneath. Central line goes underneath, but you can visibly see it. It's underneath and it's somewhere around here as well. Obviously, this is very, very compressed. So I'm trying to fit in as much as I can. It's getting really challenging now, and I've been and ahhing at this for a couple of hours and looking, and while I've been terraforming and planning it ahead. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to see how far we get. So the ideal plan for this, I'm going to say it one more time before we get stuck in because I know I'm chatting on now. The ideal plan is to get as far as that junction and then detail it back so it looks a bit nicer and a little bit prettier. That way, because I've had a request for a cab ride on the Hammersmith and City line, at least if I get some detailing done, we could maybe get a cab ride going and have a Hammersmith and City line train, at least from somewhere, maybe from Euston, all the way to Hammersmith. But at least this bit would look nice. Do you know what I mean? Just look pretty. It won't look so boring on it. So if we can get this line in, what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to go in with these. I think with these 6 tracks, I've had a look at Open Rail. I think the one on the far right is the Elizabeth line, and these two are the main line here. So I'm going to just build out that main line track. I'm going to leave the Elizabeth line alone. I'm going to build that out, get an idea, get some scope about where I want it to go, give myself sort of some sort of platform to bounce off of, and then we'll build up from there. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of tea, or whatever your preferred beverage is. Let's get stuck in.
at 75%. Copy.
Okay, let's see what we got done, shall we? I didn't get as far as I wanted to, nowhere near, because I didn't realize how much work I had to do in this area and how much I wanted to add. And it was a late Sunday evening, and it still is, and it's getting on a bit now. It's actually nearly 1 in the morning. But we got just beyond, what's this called? Old Oak Common. I managed to download some warehouse assets, some depot assets. I'm not sure if I like them or not, but just a little representation of sort of the Old Oak warehouses. So we put some sidings in. Obviously, there's a lot more sidings, but we sort of fitted in what we could fit in. More sidings this side. I'm not entirely happy with this side because this should be closer to the main line, really. It should be a bit tucked in. So you might find that this will magically change next time you see it, and it might be straighter and less curved, and this might curve out a little bit, and that'll be sort of less deeper and probably not as far this way either. Some of the roads are kind of accurate, some of them aren't. This actually goes underneath this, but it's kind of because of the space we've got. In reality, this comes over here, and this is all a little bit more over here. So this kind of goes under this lot, but it doesn't go under this because this isn't this far down. This is down here. So there's more space here, basically. And this kind of junction area is kind of down here a little bit more, or kind of here. But this is kind of down here, and that goes like that. Anyway, we made do with what we got just so we could get a road in and through here. And then the surrounding sort of roads here. This lovely area that I've grayed out is where HS2 Old Oak Common Station is being built underneath. And then I know they're doing a new station that will cover over the top of this. And it'll be the largest, busiest station in the UK, apparently, when it's done. We'll see. The projection is it will be because it will serve all of HS2 services. And obviously the main line will cross over the top as well. So it'll be a big connection point, I'm assuming. And it's a very lovely looking building. You can go on YouTube and search it and see what they've done so far. It's pretty incredible. So we'll leave that there because obviously our HS2... what HS2 basically does, it goes underground here, goes underground, and then is pops up here. Just here, there's some tunnels, and then we have an extension to London Euston. And that's the first sort of part of HS2 that goes underneath London. And then it shoots off underground for a little while, then resurfaces somewhere in the wilderness and heads up to I think it's the opposite, the new station that's in and around Birmingham, what was Birmingham International. I think the train station is still Birmingham International, but then you've got Birmingham International. Then on the if we're looking north, you've got Birmingham International, and then on the left you've got Birmingham Airport, and then on the right you've got the NEC, and then the other side of that I believe is the HS2 station, and I can't remember what that one's called, but I believe that's the way, if you wanted to picture in your head, I think that's the way they lay out. So that'd be pretty cool to see how all that unfolds, and see if we eventually when we move forward in time and maybe I get out the intercity era that I absolutely love. I've also got to find out, I've added the Elizabeth line in the end because if you didn't notice, I put in the junction and put some walls up. I'm still not entirely happy with that, but I thought I'd get it up quick. Obviously we've got a little bit of water here where we've got the terrain messing about, so I'll sort that out in my own time. But I thought I'd put it in before I messed about with anything else, just so I had it there. It kind of, there's another sort of set of sidings and depots here, and what I believe happens is one of the Elizabeth lines joins and the other one goes round these and then comes back. But because we've run out of space, theoretically, we can't do that. So we've just sort of phased them in with some ends there, as if there was some sort of siding there, and I'm reasonably happy with that. Obviously, I put some walls up all along, retaining walls all along the side of the Hammersmith and City line there, some fences. We got most of this done. This was interesting. This is like a simplified version of all the junctions and sidings. Again, I'm reasonably happy with this. This was a surprise junction that I forgot existed, and so getting up that hill was a little bit easier than I thought. I thought the slope was going to be a little bit more, a little bit worse, a little bit steeper than it actually initially was. So I'm reasonably happy with that. This kind of, because there's bigger distance between this station and all this is a bit tighter, obviously, and we've still got to get some sort of switch in here as well. I'm not sure how much this will get used as a sidings. We'll probably pop some sort of services on those sidings there. I like to use them as much as I can. We'll see what services we end up using and what we have. and what goes where, and we'll work that out in time. The main point is to get as far as I could on this main line, the Great Western Main Line, I believe. And so I could get a cab ride on the Hammersmith and City line. So I have sort of done a fair bit of decorating. I also plopped a town here just to get some passengers going, because a lot of this here is just built up area. I've left this bit open. I've put fence along here and some trees for the Hammersmith and City line, and put a wall around here. A lot of this is built. I've still got to mess around with this river, because this river kind of goes, it's the canal, sorry, kind of goes up here and hooks up to this one. This kind of goes along here somewhere. So we will do that in a time. But, you know, I wanted to get sort of a viewpoint from the trains for a cab ride as quickly and as sort of accurately as I possibly could. It's nowhere near accurate, to be honest, but it's kind of a representation, and it works. I mean, this bend doesn't really exist, and this bend is kind of more. The other option is, what I could do is leave this here and move the main line and release this curve here a little bit more, and have this, because this curve is more wrapped like this, because it's kind of, if you look at this from a sort of from this really big sort of bird's eye view, where we've got this kind of V shape where these two split off here, this kind of comes in and dips inside that almost. So we could make this curve a little bit better, and give more space to this area rather than that area. So bring this up here and then curve it off, and just get this closer, this main line closer to this side, and giving ourselves more space this side for any future sort of building or whatever we do. I'm reasonably happy with that. I've also sort of painted this with some asphalt, because I'm going to put some more warehouses here just for when we use this line, just to get a bit more going on, because there are some more warehouses along here, and just build this up. This is being used now, which is quite cool, to supply. And off camera, because I'm an idiot, let's just say that, shall we? Off camera, I also finished off Hammersmith, purely for the cab ride. So I've put some wall round Hammersmith here, and I've plopped the town and let it build up around the wall, because basically, again, a lot of it's just built up around the wall, and I'm reasonably happy with it. This, I'm going to probably just asphalt this so it looks a bit more sort of city-like. I've sort of ballasted all this and built around it. I've added another siding to this that they've got an option to use. Are we paused? I believe we are paused. So is that waiting? That's siding. That's waiting. No, that's just waiting. We're not paused, are we? Have we got moving cars? Yeah. No, we just got a queue. That's all we've got. We've just got a queue, which is not good. I think it's because I've just released the trains, because I had a blockage. I had a blockage here, so that's why I added an extra siding for a little bit of relief. And I think now the trains this one's leaving now, so it should bugger off down there, and that one will come in. Anyway, yeah, so I built a wall around it. We've got a little bit of bleed and a little bit of weird terrain here, which I'll sort out before we jump in the cab ride. I've just got to smooth it out and maybe extend the wall a little bit. I built a wall around it, and hopefully it gets built up around it. This is just where I've been dropping tubes into the underground, which will, slowly get removed over time. But other than that, I'm reasonably happy with that. It's working. It's in use, which was the main reason why we got it going. That train is just literally stuck. It's because all this is going, then that will come in and use the sidings, I guess, once that one's gone. But it's pretty good. I hope, I've enjoyed building it. It's been pretty cool. I guess maybe later on this week, I'll extend this out to East Ealing, and maybe we'll put Heathrow in, and we'll see how we go. I've enjoyed doing this, because it's been a while since I did a big sort of detailing, because I've just been doing lots of little bits. But, again, I've shown you what I was sort of unhappy with. What I'll do is, in a separate video, I'll drop a cab ride on the Hammersmith and City line, going from where would be, I guess, around about the King's Cross area, where King's Cross will be, as I have an autosave. And we'll jump on a cab ride, and we'll just ride the Hammersmith and City and see what it looks like from cab view. Other than that, I hope you've enjoyed the episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.